If you're looking for a show that has formal interviews with few things you can relate to, then this show isn't for you. This is the On the Air podcast starring you, the OTAP Show. What does OTAP stand for? Well, we kind of just told you. These are informal interviews with people from all walks of life, talking about experiences you can relate to. Share in all of the laughs with real stories from real people. Find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Android users can listen on the free Podcast Republic app. Now, get ready for this week's episode. Here's the OTAP Show with your host, Corey.
What up, everybody? It's your boy Smooth Over, aka Real Ghost Fight.
Hey, this is Nikita, aka Jakari Star.
Yo, what's good? This is your boy Bob.
This is Kaya, aka Black Honey.
Hey folks, this is Corey, the host for Metal for Brains.
Hey girl, she's so pretty.
This is Greg, the infamous New Age Like Turner.
Kicking it with the homie Corey, aka The Real City. Now you're listening to On the Air Podcast.
And you're listening to the On the Air podcast.
The On the Air Podcast.
The On the Air podcast.
Starring you.
Starring you.
Starring you.
Here's the question. Does modern-day Georgetown University have a responsibility to take care of the descendants of the slaves who essentially saved it from going under? A lot of thorny issues here, so let's talk to our resident black egghead, Felonious Munk.
Felonious Munk is a comedian who took part in protests in Ferguson, Missouri. He is in Chicago tonight. Felonious, welcome. What do you think of this discussion?
I started out, and my mother, like my real name is Felonious Munk. I hope y'all know that shit. If anybody really believes my name, anybody really thought my name was Felonious Munk before I got on stage, good, because that's some disrespectful shit to my mother. I see you. You sorry motherfucker. No, my mother did not name me Felonious. Fuck you. But it's still, it was crazy because, like, my father's name is Kurt, and my father wanted me to be a junior, and my mother's name is Denise, and my father's a piece of shit to my mother, so she named me Dennis. So I am a junior, you know what I'm saying? Or like Denise Junior.
Welcome to another episode of the OTAP Show. I'm your host, Corey. And wow, I just realized I'm actually developing my new intro as I speak. Like the last show I did, I developed the outro, and I felt like J. Cole because I didn't have a cool outro. Now I got a cool intro. Welcome to the OTAP Show. It's your host, Corey. This week, you guys have seen him on Comedy Central. You have seen him at the Laugh Factory. Any comedian who's anybody in Chicago has performed at Jokes and Notes. I have on the line right now, Felonious Munk. What's really good, brother?
I'm in the building right now. This is a party. Turning up right now. Getting it.
Exactly. You know what? I was thinking about it, like with Jokes and Notes, and shout out to Marilee for putting me on to Jokes and Notes. When I'm in Chicago, I usually try to catch a show or something that's there. Jokes and Notes is a really cool venue. Like I dig the artist on the the drawings of the comedians on the side. That's dope.
Yeah, they are. Mary Lindsay is the person who owned Jokes and Notes. She was part of the previous club in Chicago called All Jokes Aside. There's a dope documentary called Funny Business about that. And she ran that thing well. Unfortunately, and this is I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, 2 weekends ago was her last weekend. They closed it down for a while. And,
no.
Yeah, man. I don't know if that's permanent or if she's trying to relocate, but yeah, one of the things that happens when you bring, gentrification and outside coffee shops to black neighborhoods is the rent goes up. And
man.
Yeah, man. We don't like to. She can't charge more for the ticket prices because we get used to a certain price.
Yeah.
We like, yo, it's $20. Now you trying to charge me $35. So yeah, it's kind of. I was there. Matter of fact, there's a picture of me. I posted a picture like maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and that picture is from the last day that Jokes and Notes was open. They shut down that night. So yeah, it was kind of a bittersweet type of deal. She put so many black comics in the game, gave so many of us an opportunity to do time that weren't getting shots in the white club. So shout out to Mary Lindsay, and shout out to Mary Lee for turning you on to that club. She's just one of the naturally most funny human beings I've ever met. Mary Lee is hilarious.
Listen to me. Let me tell you about Mary Lee. I got to get Mary Lee on the show. Like Mary Lee, the whole reason, the reason why I met my girlfriend is because of Mary Lee. When I came in town to when she had her quote unquote her one man band type show where she did everything. Mary Lee is a riot all by herself. She does it all, man.
She's by herself. She really should do more one woman shows because she does so many things, not just comedy, not just stand up, but she can sing. You know what I mean? She's like super talented all the way around. So, you know, anytime I'm on a show with her, I'm entertained, and that's dope that she's doing things outside of just being a dope comedian and funny singer. She putting people's love lives together. Get money, Mary Lee.
Exactly. We gotta do the peer pressure to get her to do another show, man. Another one woman show. We gotta get her to do it.
Yeah. Cool. I'm with it. She just did. I got a place on the South Side. Well, it's not mine. I said that like a boss. Yeah, I got a place on the South Side where I put niggas on. You know what I mean? And I do a show on Saturdays at this club called The Revival. It's kind of new in Hyde Park on 53rd. And she came through a couple of weeks ago, like after not doing comedy for a few months, taking care of some other things, and just walked on stage dry and smashed. I mean, I didn't want to get off the stage. Like, you know, we got to light them and let them know, all right, you did the amount of time that you were supposed to do. We got to keep the show rolling. I was ready to let her rock. She was getting busy. So, yeah, I definitely ready to help her put together whatever I got to do. If it's, you know what I mean, call every day and harass the shit out of her. Whatever.
Exactly.
Let's make it happen.
So why comedy, man? Why did you decide to get into it? I imagine it's a tough art to have and to jump into. So why did you decide to go that way?
Because I'm a complete moron and I didn't know any fucking better. Like listen, I've done everything that I thought was difficult. Like I've sold crack, weed, and heroin at the same time out of a small spot in the middle of a, you know what I mean, suburb where you're not supposed to try that. That was hard. I've been married. I'm raising an 11-year-old daughter. That's hard. Comedy is harder than all of those things because you lose way more times than you win. You lose all the time. And so what was happening, you ever met somebody that just sounds like they're angry all the time and they're not really angry? Like once you get to know them, you realize they're not angry. That's just how they talk.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah, of course.
That was me. Like I you know what I mean? I had this nigga, I punched, like, you know, I grew up in a place where we would just tell my man, shut the fuck up, suck my dick. That didn't mean we wanted you to fight us. That's how we talk to each other. So as I got older, I realized, people not getting these jokes. Maybe I need to tone it down. And my man said, nah, you need to try stand up. And I was like, that doesn't sound like the correct answer to what my fucking dilemma is, sir.
Right.
But yeah, I was going through something in 2010, had some legal issues, and I thought I was going back to prison for like 5 years. So I was just trying to do anything to let steam off. And I had my little bucket list of things I wanted to do before I went to prison. You know what I mean? I'm going to go and go blow some money in Georgetown. I'm going to go party in New York and get some Ace of Spades and pour it out on the concrete. I'm going to do this. And I might as well try this stand-up thing. And I jumped on stage and fell in love with it immediately. And I guess it wasn't the plan for me to go to prison because I beat the case a couple months later. And the rest of it is like just a whole bunch of good breaks after good breaks after good breaks. I mean, you know, where I am in my career right now is a blessing. None of this was supposed to happen this fast. I'm not 6 years in yet.
Wow. You know what's so dope about that is like, with so much happening today, especially with black men, black people in general, you know what I mean? The fact that you are another example of shit going right and how shit can go right after failure, after failure, after failure. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What's the one thing that's kept you going?
My mom was, I mean, all of us, I think it's a lot of black people with this story, but my mom was one of those people who just did what needed to get done regardless. I mean, if I look back at my mom's life, I don't know how she's ever experienced a moment of happiness as an adult. Everything that's happened to her just seems like on paper to have been fucked up. She went to college on a scholarship. She had a scholarship from DuPont. And within that first year, her freshman year, she got pregnant with me. This is like during a time where you don't get pregnant without having a husband. That's just frowned on. This is how bad it was. There was so many women having illegal abortions at the college she was at. There was one point they had to shut the dorms down because the toilets wouldn't flush. They were flushing so many babies. Shit. And my mom, instead of doing that, chose to have me, which caused her to get basically disowned by my grandparents for a little while. You know what I mean? Like they just, you gonna blow up your life, then we don't bang with you no more. So she took that, raised me, went to started working in shipbuilding, which is predominantly a male-dominated field. You know, even now with all the progress we made. But think about back then. We're talking about the 70s. She's working in a field where 98% of the people are men, white men, and even if there were women, being a black woman was almost unheard of. She literally was the first black woman to graduate from the apprentice school at this particular shipbuilding place. So she went through all of that, worked her ass off, got married. My stepfather was mad abusive, physically, verbally. He had a crack problem. Like she went through all of that, fought through that, kept her job, kept working. I'm acting like an ass at this point because I'm a teenager now. I'm out in the streets doing what I do. So she's frustrated, sends me to live with my pops. 2 years later, I get locked up. So everything that she has in this world, no husband anymore, her only child is locked up, and there's nothing she can do about it. And instead of her just giving up and crying and folding up in the ball, she goes back to college, gets her bachelor's, gets her master's, and now I think she's like her dissertation away from her doctorate. So when I think about the things that I've gone through, if I were to compare them, still haven't gone through, even doing 6 years in prison and going through a divorce, I still haven't gone through a fraction of what my mom has gone through. So if I give up and stop giving maximum effort right now, I mean, the fuck did she go through all that for, to raise a son who ain't gonna even try? Wow. You know what I mean? So yeah, I keep my head up. I keep pushing, and I always look at it from the standpoint of it worked out for her. I just always assume shit's gonna work out. Wow. It's got to. You know what I mean? It's got to.
Yeah, you got children, like it's no choice. You know what
right.
I mean?
And that's kind of what I learned. I don't know if I wasn't around, maybe she would have given up. But I know she didn't. And that's where we're at.
What do you feel is the biggest sacrifice you've made to help further your dreams and your career as a comedian?
The biggest sacrifice I made was moving away from the East Coast because my daughter lives in Virginia now. And the biggest sacrifice is not being able to see her anytime I want to. Like that, even when I lived in New York, I could get down to Virginia every weekend. It's easy. You know what I mean? Just jump on a bus if it was that bad. It's like a 6-hour bus ride. Now, in order for me to see my daughter, it's got to be, you got to calculate the times and when she's free and when I'm free. And Saturdays are hard to travel because I'm usually doing shows on the weekends. And she's not old enough to fly by herself yet. So that means I got to pay an extra $300 round trip for her to fly anywhere. And that's the biggest sacrifice has been not being with my kid. But I mean, you got the other side to it too, where, I've had decent jobs in my life. I, was making 6 figures in the car business before I started doing comedy. And then I started hustling. I won't, for tax purposes say how much I was making, but I was comfortable. But
because you know what, they are listening, especially after I interviewed Netta. I'm pretty sure they listening now. So what's up, fans?
Yeah, look, I've probably been on the radar since I was down in. I'm gonna go down there. I've probably been on the radar since I was in Ferguson. So I assume everything I say is monitored. That's just an assumption. But yeah, I mean, the next sacrifice was I was used to getting money on a consistent basis, and when you first start doing comedy, especially like that first year, I got some YouTube checks. A couple YouTube checks. I ate a little bit, but was a whole lot of not eating. It was a whole lot more not eating than eating. But yeah, I mean, stuff broke like really quickly. I got a job in New York making decent money within a year of me doing stand-up for the first time. Then I came out to Chicago and I ate pretty good for 3 years. And as soon as they shut down Touch Vision, I got a deal with Second City to start doing a play regularly there. So it's like a comedy, sketch, music thing. So it's just, that biggest sacrifice is missing my family. But the second was not knowing where that check was coming from. Not knowing where that next, you know what I mean? Now I got a wife with a baby on the way. Mm-hmm. And we talk about, well, how you going to eat? It's going to work out. That's all I know. It always has.
Who in the comic industry has given you the best advice?
Wow. I've gotten some real good advice from comics. The ones that you would know, Chris Rock told me, if your joke isn't better than someone else's, even if you'll have the same premise, you really like your joke. If yours isn't better than theirs, don't do the joke. Dave Chappelle told me, never let anyone tell you. This is funny because they were kind of talking about the same thing, just two different times. But we were talking about each one of them. I was talking to Dave about Chris and talking to Chris about Dave. Dave Chappelle told me, never let anybody tell you that something you think isn't going to be funny enough. Because one person not liking it doesn't mean the shit's not funny. If it's funny to you, say that shit. Okay. Gerard Carmichael told me, I'm dropping names because I want people to know that these are like legitimate people. This was some dude around the corner that just told me this shit. Gerard Carmichael told me that there is no blueprint. Do what the fuck you want to do. That's and like that was probably, that's three different, right. So, and the funny part about him is my roommate when I was in New York, was one of those guys who did everything by the book. Funny guy, but he really believed in the rules. So if someone told him you had to do 1,000 sets in order to even be considered a real comic, I don't care how funny you were. He didn't believe you were a real comic until you did 1,000 sets. You know, if you don't talk about, if you make too many points in your jokes and don't have enough punchlines per minute, then you're not a real comic or you're not really funny. And Gerard is kind of like, maybe this joke is 2 minutes long and there's only one laugh, but it's a real big laugh. Where somebody else might be like, yo, in 2 minutes, I need to have people laughing 12 times. There is no rule. You know if it's a good set when you walk off stage and the audience is happy. That's it. There are no other rules. So, yeah, I mean, those are three pieces of advice I got. But the best piece I got was from a guy that not enough people know. It's a guy named Bodacious out in Virginia. And he told me, get on stage as many times as you possibly can. That's the only way to get good.
I've heard that before. I've heard someone else has mentioned that.
You get up as much as you can. And, you know, I've had people ask me, why do you do so many shows? You do free shows and $20 shows. And I'm not doing those shows for the money. I'm doing that because last night I did a show on the West Side at a place called the ESO Theater. And I'm saying the name out loud on purpose because this is something that Chicago, if they can, should support. This is a Black-owned business. Young Black sister owns the place, started it up, and made it a space for young Black creatives to have their own. And when I say supports it, she pays for the acts. The ticket prices recoup her, but she pays. I got paid when I walked in the door. So she didn't know what the ticket sales were going to be in advance because there was no online. You had to pay at the door. She paid me when I walked in. So this is like 54. I'm gonna put the whole thing out there. 5401 West Madison. It's right between Central and Laramie. So yeah, I go in there and they put a dope show on, and I I felt like I was talking for 40 minutes. I was supposed to do 20. The dude said, do however long you want to. And 45 minutes later, I walk off stage and the people are like, yo, what the fuck just happened? what was that? Because it was the culmination of all of those shows and all of that talking and all of that. You know, I've always had this weird balance between being too political and too social and just trying to be funny. You know what I mean? You got to tell a fart joke or a titty joke or a vibrator joke in there somewhere, or the people going to lose their mind. You know
to break up the monotony.
Yeah, you got to break up the monotony. But I'm doing all these heavy intersectional social political talks about, black men being endangered and also the LGBT communities being endangered. And by the way, stop asking women stupid questions like, where did you learn that? Motherfucker, shut up and appreciate that blessing you just got. The hell is you questioning your blessing? So you're doing all of these jokes and you realize at some point, people think you're preaching. How do you turn it back into a comedy show? And then last night was one of those nights where I felt like I walked that line perfectly. And that only happens because I'd done enough sets. You just keep doing the material until one day the light bulb comes on and you feel comfortable.
It's that repetition, and it's like anytime, like especially like with my job, like anytime I do one particular thing and I'm learning something new. So in my job, I have to constantly learn stuff, and I can learn something enough to the point where I can train on it and teach it. But unless I do it over and over, because things don't work the same way every time, it's those small subtle nuances. It's kind of like how Bruce Lee said. Practice one. The man that practices one kick 1,000 times is more deadly than the man that know 1,000 kicks. You know what I mean? So that's right. You practicing your craft over and over. So I get it. Doing it over and over, teaching you how to walk that line. So that's really dope. That's cool.
That's an interesting thing too, because when you see somebody locally, like when I'm in Chicago, I'm doing the same material over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So if you see me 4 or 5 different places, you might be like, he only has 10 minutes of material. Now I got an hour of material. That 10 that you see me continuing to do over and over, I haven't gotten it down yet. Even if you think it's funny, you're laughing at it. I'm still doing it because there's something I'm missing. There's a joke, there's a piece to it. There's a tag I need. There's something I need to try different with my voice. Maybe I need a facial expression. Do I need to act out? I don't know. So I'm gonna keep doing it, not until it's funny, but until it's the way I want it to be. And until then, you might see me 4 weeks in a row and you're like, this nigga got just the same 10 minutes. And then you'll bump into me somewhere on a fluke headline and you'll go, he didn't even do those jokes that I saw him doing. This is a whole nother 30. No, the 30 you saw me do was old. I've been doing that. That shit just works. This stuff I'm working on to make sure that it works.
Do you feel like that going to different places, local venues, for because you're kind of scrimmaging for the game. But do you feel like doing that and sometimes might hurt your pockets, where someone might be like, oh, he's just gonna do this joke, or that joke?
I used to think that, especially when I was in New York, like I wouldn't do open mics in New York because people started to figure out what my routine was, and they would show up at those open mic spots expecting me to be funny. And open mics aren't used for that. Open mics are used to work on new stuff, to try and talk out bits. You walk in and you see this guy that you think is funny, and he's not as funny as you thought he was going to be. Are you going to pay money when he's headlining somewhere? Nah, you just saw him. He wasn't that funny. But then I realized that if I shorted myself on the craft, it didn't matter if I had an audience or not. I was never going to be as good as I wanted to be. And in order for me to get as good as I wanted to be, I had to do these shows. I had to suck sometimes. I had to bomb. I had to take the L. And if it cost me 3 or 4 fans because I took the L, wait till they hear this shit when it pops. They'll be back. They'll be back.
I take the same approach with my show, right? So of course we want everything we do to be awesome. We want people
every time.
And so if I reach out to someone and they're like, they say they don't want to do the show, I'm thinking a couple of things, but then it's like, my thought is, well, at some point you're either going to want to do the show or you're going to hear it. You're going to hear about it somewhere, because I'm going to keep doing the show.
Right.
So
a thing done consistently, an average thing done consistently is better than a great thing done sporadically. Because if you could do something consistently over, just like you said, that one kick practice 1,000 times, you don't even realize you're getting better. You don't realize you're getting better until you put in that situation where you really need that kick and it's perfected and you see it in action and you go, oh shit. If you take your last episode, take your last episode and go back to your first episode. You didn't see the growth. Like, you felt it. You're like, yo, I got better. This feels like it's better. It feels like it's getting easier. But if you look at the last episode and the first episode, you'll go, shit. I hate the first episode. That shit is terrible. Why
you are absolutely right.
Why would I even put that on the air? I was an idiot. Jesus Christ, that's terrible.
You are
And
absolutely
look,
right.
the first year I was doing stand up, I used to think I was killing. Like I would tell people, "Yo, I was at the Funny Bone last night. I smashed that shit, son. Smashed it." I saw a video of one of those sets recently. I was so embarrassed. I pulled that shit off YouTube, and it was on private. You couldn't even see it unless you knew where the link was. And I was like, I don't even want this to exist
I can't
in the
risk
archives, nigga. Get this shit. I can't risk it. Somebody hacked this shit, put this garbage out. I look the same, so you can't. Nigga might think it was yesterday. That shit off the internet, dude. What's wrong with me? Yeah. So your growth is not. It's in small increments, and you can't always see it. And what helps is when you get away for a second and come back. Like I left New York for 3 years, and I've been back this year a bunch of times. And cats who knew me, who were performing with me, they've elevated their craft too. And so they haven't seen me. The last snapshot they have is of wherever I was in like 2012.
Right.
So they're seeing me now is kind of like seeing me for the first time, but their expectations are low. The expectations are of the dude they saw headline in Gotham 4 years ago who probably wasn't ready to headline Gotham. So now they're seeing me and they're going, Jesus Christ, nigga went to Chicago and got nice. Yeah, it's been 4 years. It's been a lot of shows. It's been 1,000 shows. You know what I mean? I've done the shows that you asked me to do. Now, here we are.
That's dope. One of the cool things I found with you is because I don't think I've interviewed anyone that has their own Wikipedia page. So,
oh
so,
shit!
So the first question is, I don't know if there's like a committee of people that go around and start Wikipedia pages, or do you do your own, or do you have a writer?
Like, so the rules are you can't do your own, and you can't have someone with bias like a manager or a PR person do it. So it's got to be someone in there. It's got to be someone who's one of their regular contributors who pops up.
Okay.
What helps is you have certain things that kind of attach to it. Like if you got an IMDb page, that puts you on the radar. You know what I mean? If you have a few news articles, major publications, enough TV, I'm going back out there. I just left it open, so I grabbed my key. Sorry about that. I'm actually continuing to be married while doing this interview. That's how I get down. Right. Multitask out in these streets.
We're gonna leave that in too.
No, definitely leave it in. That's just real life. But yeah, if you they have a committee or they have their contributors, and their contributors kind of see these things and they have links to other stories. If you have IMDb, you've done something that puts you on TV, Comedy Central, Variety, you got a manager, all of those things start showing up in the algorithm, and once they do, you kind of get on their list. The cool part about it, or the negative part, is they do it based on notoriety. You could do one very special thing, or you can do, you could just be consistent enough that you are in the conversation. And so mine, like I was already listed in other articles, but I didn't have my own page. Recently, that page is maybe 3 months old. It's not like I'm old. That page popped up in June because I got the Google alert. Google's like, yo, son, Felonious Munk on Wiki. I was like, it's probably an article about this SVU episode. And then I went and looked. I was like, nigga, that's me. Look at that. Have mercy.
So how accurate is the page?
100% accurate. It's all fact. It's all fact. I went through and made sure that they didn't have any, no bullshit on it. I check it. I'm not popular enough or famous enough not to have time to do shit like check it. I got time on my hands. You know what I mean? I go back and like, yo, wait a minute. Who said I got 18 daughters by 17 women? That's bullshit.
Right, exactly.
That's not true. It's not a fact, sir. But yeah, it's kind of been. This has been a cool year. This last year has been real eventful. The Comedy Central thing just kind of happened last year, early in the year. Then I got married. And my wife got pregnant. Then I got a new agent. It's a lot of things that happened in the last year. So it's been fun. It's been popping.
All right. So what I want to talk about your influences. that it
Yeah.
has here. I mean, I definitely see Dick Gregory. I can see the Dick Gregory all the way in your influences. But let's talk about George Carlin, who is one of my all time favorites. The man.
Carlin
What
is the GOAT.
right. So what influences do you draw from George Carlin that you might study, so to speak?
Carlin. So when I think about George Carlin, I think about his fearlessness in taking that 2 or 3 minutes and just making a point. He's got a joke where he talks about the two-party system being bullshit, and basically he's just talking about none of them care about you. It's all bullshit, and we're getting fucked. And the close to that is the reason they call it the American dream is because you have to be asleep for it to believe in it. There's no punchlines to this. It almost sounds angry. You know what I mean? It's very preachy, but he didn't give a fuck. Because then he'd turn right around and say, you know what I hate? Pussy farts. What the fuck did that have to do with what you just said? Like, what you just said was so brilliant. And to me, he didn't have an act as much as he was the levels of human that we all are. Like, you've had a conversation with your boys where you were talking about how fucked up this election is. You're like, yo, Donald Trump is crazy, but I really didn't fuck with Hillary. If they had got a better GOP, had got a better choice, I believe Hillary would have took the L. And then after that, you'd be like, yo, you know what? Titties is nice though. I like titties.
You're absolutely right.
You know who got some nice titties? Like that's a thing. That's not the women the same way. Like a woman could have the whole conversation. I'm with her, or I'm a Bernie, da 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 da. Yo, I'm trying to go get some dick. Like that's human beings talk about all of these things, and that's why I like Carlin, because he didn't avoid one thing or the other thing, but he talked about all of those things in the same show. Same show. You know, I think that the show that I'm talking about, he opened with a cool ass poem about how we're starting to become disconnected. This is crazy too, because this was like 7-8 years ago.
I
And
think
he started to talk about
that was complaints and
yeah,
grievances. Was
that's
that the
what
show?
complaints agree. And he
Yeah.
opens up with that poem about how we're disconnected with hard drives and input and output and da da da. He was already kind of foreshadowing what computers were going to do and social media was going to do to the way that we relate to each other. He does this 2.5 minute poem about that, and literally the very next thing he says is, "You know what I think is weird? Pussy farts." And you may have noticed I don't do much transitional material because he just talked like an old dude. He was like your old uncle who no longer gave a fuck about whether or not you understood what he was saying. He just needed to get this shit off his chest. You know what I mean? So yeah, what I take from him is to literally not have a plan to do it the way that I want to do it. Because that's what I kind of feel like he did something no one had done before. You know, but I mean, to me, him and Richard are 1 and 1A. Like I'll take an argument for either one of them being the greatest of all time, and I won't fight you on it. Like if you told me, yeah, I like Carlin, but Pryor is better, I would go, okay. It is what it is.
It's one of those two.
Yeah, if you said anybody, like people be like, what about Eddie? I'd be like, nah, Eddie didn't say anything that I cared about. He was hilarious. Absolutely. Every single Eddie Murphy stand-up was hilarious. However, there was not one thing that you took from it that mattered to you.
Right.
Richard Pryor and Carlin always said things that mattered to me. It's really why I got Chris Rock ahead of Eddie Murphy, and a lot of people think that's sacrilege, but at least Chris Rock was attempting to move the needle. You know what I mean? Chris Rock was trying to say... Chris Rock was doing jokes about gays in the military 15 years ago before black people were supposed to be okay with LGBT issues.
Right.
That's a hell of a stance for him to have taken. And even then it wasn't a good stance, but he was basically saying, I don't care if a tank come down Flatbush Avenue, I'm going in the house. So you better let the gays fight because I'm not going to fight them. So that's, I get it. He took a stand. It was a soft stand, but it was a stand. Eddie Murphy didn't take any stands, man. He was just hilarious. I get it. He was a better Kevin Hart. He was a much better Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is hilarious. Kevin Hart's never going to take a stand. And to get your money. It's the Michael Jordan effect. Get money. I'm cool with it. I don't want you to speak out if you're not comfortable.
Do you in any way hold that against Kevin Hart? He's a hard worker, but you're right. I don't think I'll ever hear him taking a stand like that.
Yeah, I don't hold it against him. I don't think that he's gonna. Yeah, he'll never be in my top 5. But he will. He absolutely. And speaking of taking things from comics, there's something I took from him. He works literally, and it's not just that he has more projects. What people don't know is before he was famous, he worked this hard. This is not a new work ethic. When he wasn't getting paid to work like this, he was working like this. And that's how you position yourself when you get those opportunities. You don't pick up a work ethic at 35. You had to have had it. You had to have practiced that. My pops used to say that to me. He said, you don't practice being an adult when you become an adult. You got to start that shit early. And Kevin Hart practiced being a superstar before he was a superstar. He used to go from Philly to New York every day, do 4 or 5 shows in New York, come back to Philly, do shows in Philly on the weekend, go back every day.
Wow.
Keith Robinson was like a mentor / driver for him. And he was taking them back and forth. They were doing, but you can't, that's an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. And if you got any kind of traffic, that's ugly. And he's just popping up around the city doing shows in the black rooms, the mainstream room, everywhere that he can get on stage. And he didn't have to do that. He wasn't making money doing it. He was doing exactly what I remember. My mom, when I first started doing this, thought I ran off to join the circus. That's the story she was telling people. You know what I mean? She was like, "Yo, I think the nigga ran off to join the circus. Don't go fuck that." And they got 156 IQ, and he's out there standing on stage holding his dick. I don't know where I was wrong as a mother. You know, where did I fuck up? How did I let him down? So yeah, it's I get it. Look, he had a wife and kid at the time. He was not making money when he was first married. So all of this stuff is, that work ethic thing is a real thing. And I see comics like, nah, I'm gonna take a few days off. I'm gonna take a few weeks off. I need to. How? You ain't made it yet. How you resting? How you resting? I'm not resting. Can't see me at the club. What the fuck you doing at this open mic? Nigga, I haven't made it. I haven't made it. They don't send me a residual check because I got a wiki page. You know what I mean? When a nightly show goes and does a best of week, I don't get extra money. They just fucking play the shit and keep it going. So I still have to work.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know you didn't get paid off of reruns.
Yeah, some people do. I don't. You know, I don't, because I'm a guest correspondent, so I get paid a decent. I get the day that I'm there is decent paper. I'm not going. Let me not make it seem like I don't get compensated fairly. But yeah, when they run reruns, this ain't like syndicated TV. I don't get a check. So you know, I feel like you work until you get to the number that you set, whether it's a financial number or quality of your set number or a goal that you were trying to achieve. Until you hit that goal, you just keep working. You don't, it's just like you're talking about Bruce Lee. You punch through. You don't punch at the target. You punch through the motherfucker. And, you know, if I want to make $10 million, then I got to shoot for 15. That's how I work at it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know how cats take days off.
That's a very interesting concept. I didn't even think about it like that. If you want to make 10 million, you got to shoot for 15 because you're gonna have some failures in there.
You're gonna have some failures in. Listen, my wife is so pregnant that the baby's head, I can stick my hand on her pelvis and feel the baby's head. She's ready to blow any minute now. And I was out till 2:00 in the morning last night on stage with my phone, the ringer on, just in case she called. But I'm still doing stand up. You know what I mean? I'm writing. I got a short movie that we're about to film. I'm still working on the script with my boys. We putting this together. We got the camera crew coming through. We're scouting. All of this is happening, and we're supposed to shoot Tuesday. Like I know she's due Tuesday, and if she goes into labor, I'm going to the hospital. But if she doesn't, I got the shot set up. Let's get it popping. So you know, I'm gonna stop working when my family is in a position to be taken care of, even if I'm gone. Until then. You can look up anytime and probably find me in your city or somebody's city or all over Chicago getting busy. Doing it all. Writing, stand up, shooting. Come on, let's get it. Let's work.
How did you mentioned the nightly show on Comedy Central. How did you and Larry Wilmore link up?
So I was doing political material when I first started doing stand up. I've always done some form of political material, even if it was just a small part of my set. And the news director got a clip of me doing some videos and asked me if I wanted to do the news in New York. So he turned me on to this dude named Michael Nasso, who was a manager, used to work for William Morris. Now he's got his own boutique. Michael Nasso is predominantly a news manager. That's all he does. All of his clients are news anchors. They're on Good Morning America, Today Show, that type of stuff. So he had never worked with a comic. But when the nightly show came out, he was like, you will be perfect for the panel because you understand all of the issues and you're funny. This is a chance to get you in front of a bigger audience. And he sent a bunch of clips of me doing stand-up, doing YouTube videos, and doing the stuff I was doing at Touch Vision, which was like straight news, to Larry Wilmore and Roy Albanese, who was the showrunner. They saw it and said, we don't want him on the panel, but we want to meet him. And they flew me out to New York. We had a general meeting that was supposed to last 15 to 20 minutes. It lasted an hour and some change. I thought either I had done really, really well or really, really poorly, but I know it was no in between. And then I didn't hear from him for 6 weeks. Nothing. I didn't hear anything. My manager didn't hear anything. It just was, I thought it was dead. And I was sitting at my desk one day writing up a piece for that day. I get a phone call from their booker who says, can you be at the airport at 1 o'clock? I said, I could be at all the airports at 1 o'clock. They said, cool. But again, I still thought I was going to be on the panel. No one had ever said anything other than that. So I thought I was going to be on the panel. I fly there, and as I'm getting off the plane, they're like, look, you have to hurry up. We started shooting at 6:30, and I didn't land until 5. He said, look, we start shooting at 6:30. You're coming all the way from LaGuardia into Hell's Kitchen, which is really, with no traffic, a good 25 minutes. We're in the middle of traffic. It's 5 o'clock. That's rush hour. I didn't get there until 6:40. And they're rushing me. And I'm like, why are you rushing me? If I'm doing the panel, I don't have to go on until probably 7:15. What are we doing?
Right.
Nah, fam. He said, you're not doing a panel. You're doing a desk piece. Here's your script. Let's get you in makeup. Do you have anything else to wear? I'm like, no, nigga, I was at work when you called me. This is what I was what are you talking about. So, yeah, I came through. I feel like I did a good job on the first one. They brought me back 5 more times. And we've been in conversations to maybe expand my role. We're just not there yet. But, yeah, man, it was just I won't call it a fluke, but it's the same thing we were talking about with Kevin Hart. It's the work. Like, why was I doing the news? Because the news helped me learn how to read the prompter. Why did that matter? Because the day that I did the nightly show for the first time, I didn't have time to prepare. I didn't get a chance to look over the script for like 5 minutes. So the prompter was right there because I'm comfortable reading from the prompter. It seemed like I did 5 or 6 takes because it was smooth. It was one take.
Wow.
So every one of those little things, like I remember my early stuff was kind of about only the black community. All of my early YouTube videos was about bitches, hoes, niggas, and it was a smart take on it, I thought, but it was still, I was kind of addressing things that really only applied to us. And then as I started to expand into doing more political stuff, my man was like, yo, why are you doing that? You don't talk about that on stage that much. I was like, there's a reason, I just don't know what it is yet. And then finally, as these opportunities started to come, like at Touch Vision, they started making me write my piece every day, and they had a copy editor that would come in and write and rearrange words, and we would argue and go back and forth on whether or not this was the way I wanted to phrase that. And I hated that because I like just saying things off the top of my head authentically.
Right.
Later on, when I started writing this 5-minute screenplay, and I started to have to do edits and rewrites and edits and punch it up, I realized why I had to do those 3 years of writing and going back and forth with an editor. So every little thing that I've done that didn't seem related to stand-up has eventually been related to stand-up. And that was Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs said that all of the things that he was doing in the 80s that were failures weren't failures. They were setting him up to drop the iPod, the iPad, the iPhone. He didn't know it at the time. He didn't know why he was doing it. He just knew he needed to do it. And that's kind of what's happening with me. I have to do these things if they make sense. And eventually I'll know why I did it. It kind of seems backwards.
No, that I can totally relate. A lot of times I'll find myself reading stuff, and because I have such a thirst for knowledge, and I'm just reading random articles about anything, and I never really understood or understand why I'm reading or gaining this knowledge until somebody asks a random question and I know the answer to it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the real. So I was in the hospital. I was not in the hospital. I was at the doctor's office with my wife, and The lady, we're doing an ultrasound. I tell a story on stage. We're doing an ultrasound. The lady goes, "Oh, you definitely have a boy. I can see the penis and the testicles." And I immediately go, "I don't think you have the authority to make that decision, ma'am. We'll let them decide what they are when they get older." And that was a reaction. But you know what's funny is that was a reaction because I had read so much that my initial, and that's I think how you change behavior. You change behavior when you read, study, and educate yourself enough that your reaction becomes the information you have and not what you were told. And so, you know what I mean? Like you said, you're educating yourself about things that you really don't need to know necessarily. And then you get yourself in a situation. You know, I was watching. The reason I told you to give me 5 more minutes is because I was watching Naruto. I'll admit it. That's why. Boom. I was watching anime. Don't judge me. I like the little dude. But you know, it's kind of like when you see these guys going through different trials and they're going through their training. That still doesn't matter. The training doesn't matter until you get yourself in a situation to use your training and you find out how much you really know. Because the information that you really know, you respond like it's an instinct. You don't respond like you're practicing. You don't have to think about what do I do next? What do I do next? How do I do this next? You just react. And that's what happens when you have enough information at your disposal to make good decisions. So yeah, read everything forever.
What's something that you used to joke about that you don't joke about now? Like just in terms of how your comedy has grown.
I don't ever joke about women. Well, that's not true. Women are never the punchlines of my jokes. Ever. Not any women, but specifically not black women. They're never the punchlines of my jokes. I don't think. First of all, I think that it's been done enough. Second of all, I think that I'm not really in a position to critique them in that way, to poke fun of them. And I feel like it's like if you see a white woman going, Lisa Lampanelli, for example. All right, some people love Lisa Lampanelli. Some people think that she's just, a crude, big woman who likes to say she sucks black dick. We get it. But
if you don't know shit else about
nothing else about it. You know she sucked black dick. You know that. I'm like, what else about? I don't know. I know she's had black dicks in her mouth. I know that for a fact. But here's the thing about that: when you have a white woman talking about black men in that way, it just kind of feels like we're just objects to her. And when you see black comics, especially black male comics, talking about women, these bitches be doing this, these bitches be doing that, and the same black male comics can never be vulnerable enough. Like, how many black comics do you see that do self-deprecating humor? Very few. Like, you don't see black men, especially on stage, going, "Yeah, I know I can't do this. Yeah, I know I'm not good at that." You'll see white men do that.
Yeah, that's typically a white comic thing.
That's a white comic thing, but there's a reason for that. White men are already in a position of authority. So them going on stage and saying, I don't fuck as good as I used to, or yeah, my body's not in shape like it used to be. Well, whatever. You still got a 720 beacon score and you'll probably get the job before me, even though I have a better resume. So yeah, they could do that comfortably. That's kind of the way I see it when we're talking about black women. Like, how am I going to punch down on her? She's not in a position to take these jokes. The white dude can take them. He's got everything else in the world. They can take this joke. So I'm taking shots as we had this conversation. That's how I live. That's how I get that. So that little pause there was me getting busy.
Just for the listeners that's curious, what did you just take a shot of?
I took a shot of some Woodford Reserve.
Okay.
Little bourbon, I took a little bourbon. But okay. Yeah, so I don't joke about black women specifically, women in general. I don't joke about, I never joked about rape. But early on, I always wanted to be the edgy guy who pushed the envelope. So I would try to find where, like, I might do a prison rape premise where the joke wasn't the rape. But, and then at some point I was like, yo, is it ever going to be funny enough for it to be worth it? And the answer to me is no. Like, there's no rape joke that I could do where when it's all said and done, I'd be like, yo, that joke is so fucking funny that I'm okay with a few people being offended. Now, I talk about race, and I will be perfectly fine with walking half the fucking audience. I don't give a shit. Because whether it's funny or not, it's important. You know what I mean? It needs to be talked about. I talk about murder rates in the black community, and I don't nickname it, but I don't fucking pretend that we on some old reckless, wild animal shit either. Right. I just think that we, especially us, when we get these mainstream opportunities, and I've been blessed to have these opportunities where I'm speaking to audiences that aren't all black. So I think there's a certain responsibility I have to make sure that I protect us while still being honest about us. But yeah, I don't ridicule us ever. I don't do that. Black people got to stop doing this. No, fuck that. Black people got to keep doing whatever the fuck they want to do. White people got to stop killing us. That's what the fuck we got to do. Fuck that. Fuck that. Stop shooting me, nigga.
I got 3 more comedy questions before I change the subject to something else. What's the wackest venue you've performed at?
Whoo, motherfucker. Ooh, you motherfucker. Oh, you put me in the spot, Jake. Shit. Chicago or otherwise?
Anywhere. Period. The wackest.
Man. Oh, you know what? I'm glad you asked me that question because I'm gonna tell you this: the wackest is now the best.
Okay.
So the first comedy club I ever performed in New York, like first real club, not a bar show, not somebody's fucking room, an actual comedy club is a club called New York Comedy Club. It's on 21st. It's on 24th. Like East Manhattan. This is not Lower East Side, but it's getting in that direction. 24th Street. Shit was so terrible. They had one bathroom. That bathroom was always broken. The bar was shit. I think they had like 4 different bottles, and I feel like the nigga bought them shits from home. Like it was terrible, man. Like the chairs was shit. The bathroom was shit. It smelled like shit. It was horrible. It smelled like it used to be a heroin addict's hangout spot, and they kicked the heroin addicts out and then said, let's do comedy here. But one heroin addict barricaded himself in the bathroom and eventually died. And that's what you're smelling when you get to this section. Yeah, that was the worst fucking space. And the shows were terrible. All of the shows were basically attempts to get money off of comedians. So if you were on the show, you had to bring at least 4 or 5 people with you. And they had to pay full price and they had to get 2 drinks. So the way the club was making money was convincing 10 comics to bring 5 to 10 people a piece. That's a sellout. But nobody was getting a good show because the comics weren't good. Shit, I know for a fact that the comics weren't good because I was destroying them and I was terrible at the time. So, yeah, the New York Comedy Club was ass. It was the worst. It wasn't just the worst comedy club in New York. It was the worst comedy club to this day that I've ever fucking performed in. Now, my favorite club right now when I go to New York is the New York Comedy Club.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy? They bought a dude named Emilio. Him and his partner bought it out a couple years back. Every problem that I just mentioned is fixed. They now have 2 bathrooms. Both of them are always clean. They smell good. They always work. They revamped the whole bar. It looks like a modern bar. It has every fucking type of alcohol that you would want. It's clean. They got double pane glass so you can't hear on the outside. You used to be able to walk by and hear the whole set from the street. Like it was just trash. Like why would I pay to get in? I can hear these jokes walking down the street.
Exactly.
The showroom has been cleaned up. Everything is nice. They have a little green room, an office back there now. The seats they redid all the seats, repainted everything. The stage looks better. It's just a better club and it's a better vibe. And now, anytime you go in there to see a show, especially on the weekends, you are going to see people that you see on Comedy Central, NBC, ABC, people who have their own TV shows. That's who's performing there now. Not a bunch of guys that they picked up off the street because that's the only way they could sell tickets. So yeah, that club went literally from worst to first, like left the city or something. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make soccer references so early in the show. My bad. My bad.
It's all good. So that was going to be my questions 1 and 2. The worst and the best. The third one I got for you regarding comedy, the name Felonious Munk. Where does that come from? Like I think the name is genius. I think it's super dope. But why did you choose it?
I would like to say I chose it. I would love to say I'm that brilliant and that I loved jazz growing up, and Felonious Munk was one of my influences because even though he didn't do a lot of compositions, he's the most covered. And I would love to tell you that. And also, we kind of do favor if you look at us from the profile with it. But that's not what happened at all. That's not what happened at all. My man, Robert Solomon, we've known each other 30 years. And remember I said I used to be the guy who talked real aggressive, but I thought it was funny. He said, yo, fam, you like a ghetto Gandhi. I was like, first of all, that's racist. Places of shit. Don't call me ghetto. And second of all, Gandhi didn't like black people. That's fucked up. And then he was like, yeah, true. He said, nah, you like a felonious monk. And I was like, that's dope. I like that name. I changed my Twitter name to Felonious Monk. I started getting booked for shows and no one ever asked me what my name was. They would just book me from Twitter and put on the flyer Felonious Monk. And then I did Gotham, headline Gotham. So this was my first major club booking. They put my name on the marquee outside the building. They put Felonious Monk. And once they did that, I was Felonious Monk forever.
You kind of had to like go with it at that point.
Yeah, you gotta rock. I got 3 million views on YouTube. Now I'm Felonious Monk. Nigga. You can't be Dennis. Like my real name is a regular ass name. Like, hey, Dennis. I don't know that nigga. My name's Felonious. Call me Monk. Turn up. Whoop whoop. You know. Yeah, it was. So yeah, my man gave me the name, but I've embraced it. It's still kind of like you said, it's kind of that Dick Gregory militant enough where you're a little scared that white people won't come to the show. But you know, peaceful enough and smart enough that you like, okay, white people will come to the show. Like, you know what I mean? It's a fun name. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a nice wordplay thing. And if, you know, the number of people who have walked up to me afterwards and say, yo, I thought they said Felonious Monk. And I was like, that's a weird name to have for a comedian. I was like, yeah, it's also weird because that nigga's dead. Like, stop faking dead people. Fucking telling jokes. No dead people are telling jokes, my nigga. That's not how this works.
All right, so couple more topics. Black people. Let's talk about black people.
My people.
Who are the best type of black people?
All of them. I like all of them, I'm not even joking. I like the Barack Obamas and I like the Flavor Flavs. There's something that all of us bring to the table that I enjoy. Flavor Flav's got an unbridled joy and this kind of way of making you feel like, fuck it, man. I don't care if these people looking at me. Like that Cat Williams story where he says that they called him every type of crispity, crunchity, crackly black ever. And he was like, yo, you ain't mad at you not offended? He was like, man, fuck them. They paying me. You can't make me feel bad. This is Flavor Flav, the world famous Public Enemy. They have done more to move the needle in black culture than anyone. So you could call me multiple types of crispity, crackety, crunchity niggas, and it ain't gonna change shit. I'm still fucking Flavor Flav. I did a show where 20 different women let me tongue kiss them. And you know I ain't never put no type of moisturizer on my lips. Fam, I'm getting it in these streets. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I look at Flav as like one end of the spectrum. Like my pop smoked crack for 22 years. It's a true story. My pop smoked crack for 22 years. And 8-9 years ago, he got clean. And one thing I realized when he got clean was there's nothing more annoying than a crackhead, except the ex-crackhead who started going to church.
Okay.
Because they started telling you things like, yeah, I was smoking crack because God was testing me like Job. Nigga, no. You started smoking crack because you made bad decisions with your life. Don't put this shit on you. Don't get that to sweet Jesus. No, don't get that to baby Jesus. That's on you, sir. But yeah, you know, but what I realized was the resiliency of a crackhead. Like, think about somebody, what you've done is given your power over completely to something for more than 2 decades. And then one day taking your whole life back without Iyanla Vanzant. You know what I mean? Like he took his own life back, made himself back into a real motherfucker. That's powerful. So when we look at these crackheads, these are redemption stories waiting to happen. So yeah, I mean, I like that type of black. I like the ratchet black. I like the cool, sophisticated black. I like the anime watching black. I like the soccer watching black. I like the fake ass bougie. I wear a bow tie all the fucking time. But I like them dudes because they interesting. You know what I mean? They're fun. You know. And then I like the Michelle Obama black who got you feel like she, like, I don't know her. We haven't hung out and had tea or brunch or some shit. But you know, you feel like Michelle kind of got that, I slap the fuck out you, fam. And then give you a dissertation on how the physics and the angle and the way I slapped you and connected with your jawline should have not only hurt your face, but corrected your fucked up ass attitude. Like, that's like, you know, Michelle going to hit you in your clavicle and explain to you why you got hit in your clavicle and let you know the next time it's going to be your orbital bone. And you like, what the fuck is happening? Why is she beating my ass and explaining to me how she's beating my ass? I don't like this. I like that type of black too. Like there's no type of black. The only type of black that I don't like is the black that don't like black. I don't fuck with that black at all. That black I don't fuck with. The black that don't like black. And the thing is, I don't hate that black. I don't like it. I don't hate it because I realize it came from a place where somebody hurt them. Somebody explained to them that they weren't worthy. And what they did to become worthy of whoever that person was, love that they wanted, was denounce what it is they thought that person hated. That person hates black. Well, black must be whack as shit. Let me not be black. So I feel sorry for him, but I don't fuck with him. I don't fuck. If you ain't kinfolk, then fuck you. You can't look like me and hate. Yeah, you can't look like me and hate me. Absolutely. I used to call into my man's radio show and pretend I was Uncle Ruckus. Like no one would. I did a good enough impression that no one knew that it wasn't the actual actor. But I called in like on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday and talk about how glad I was that they're sad. I was not a good person, man. I wasn't a positive influence on our community at all. But it was a funny that kind of black where you go so far as to believe you're not really black. How, fam? I can see you. You know, I'm looking at you.
Right, exactly.
You're black.
What part of you do you feel like you? Why do you? How do you feel like you're not actually here? Right, like you feel like you're an exception. You feel like you feel when you say that when you present yourself like that and as though you're not being really black. What are you saying about what I'm seeing?
Right. Because that's what, see, to me, that's why when you say, well, what's your favorite type? All of them, because I think all of them are authentically black. That's the weird part of what, you're not as black as me because you don't do this. What? We do everything, nigga. We do all the thing. I remember growing up and kids used to tell me, oh, you fuck with soccer. You ain't really black. Nigga, go to Africa. Go to Nigeria, go to Ghana, go to Uganda, Ghana, go to Uganda, go to Ethiopia, go to Eritrea, go to Somalia, go to Djibouti, go to any of these fucking countries and find out what's their favorite game to play. It ain't basketball. It ain't fucking baseball. It ain't it's football, but it ain't the one you think. They play what we call proper football. So when I was growing up and people would say that's not black, it is black. Africa is blacker than black, sir. This is the black. When they say things like, well, you speak proper English, you're trying to be like these white people. Guess who else speaks proper English? Everybody in the whole fucking world. You have Africans that speak their native language, whatever country they're from, like Tigrinya or Amharic or whatever they speak in their country naturally, but then they also speak French, Dutch, German, English. Colonialism is a motherfucker, but being smart doesn't mean you're not black. And those people are the people, don't fucking make black out to be the worst of everything. That's the same way a lot of men do women. Like the reason men are not supposed to be emotional is because women are supposed to be emotional. And since women ain't shit, then of course you acting like a woman means you ain't shit. Exactly. So that's the same fucking logic where you like, I'm not like other black people. Nigga, yes, the fuck you are. Yes, you are. You are. If you are exceptional, if you Barack Obama, if you're brilliant and went to Harvard and was the fucking editor of the Harvard Review and the youngest junior senator and the youngest president in goddamn century, you are still black because black is excellent as fuck too. It's excellent as fuck too. So yeah, I love them all.
At what point did you realize you wanted to marry your current wife?
First date.
Oh,
first date. Deadass. First
date. Don't just be saying that because she gonna hear the interview.
Nah. This is so I could tell a story. So I'd had women. I've met women that, in hindsight, I was like, yeah, we could have made it. You know what I mean? When you look back and you go, okay, the issue we had was this, or the issue we had was that, and eventually we could have worked that out. But when I met my wife, immediately the conversation was just easy. And I make it a habit of, I'm not trying to lower the bar, but I try to show up looking like, for my first date, the way I'm going to look most of the time. So I wasn't really, you know what I mean? I wasn't, I wasn't at my best. I didn't have a good line in. I didn't have, you know what I mean? I wasn't, I didn't look like I was going to mug her, but I didn't look like, You know what I mean? I look like if you got 30 days in a month, you're gonna look real sharp the 2 days around your haircut. The day that you get your haircut and the next day you look really sharp. After that,
Right.
it starts to gradually get worse. So if you get 4 haircuts a month, that means you look good for 8 days and 22. This is me. So I wanted her to see what I look like them 22 days. I showed up in a hoodie, a bubble vest, some Timbs, and some jeans because I'm very New York, and and a Yankee fitted. And I was like, if she can accept me like this, we can work from there. And she showed up in a pair of jeans, a pair of black boots, a Nirvana t-shirt with a zip-up hoodie over top of it, and a little jacket. And I was like, nigga, off top, I like her. Because she didn't come, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to try and impress you with this. And our first conversation was really about everything that I had done wrong in my life, every mistake. Because, listen, I need to know now. Let's not wait till I fall in love and then you tell me, oh, yeah, by the way, I stabbed 7 people. Nigga, wait, hold on. I love you too much now to say get the fuck out. But you should have gave me that information before.
It would have been nice.
So, yeah. So I kind of respected the fact that she asked all of the tough questions up front. You ever cheated? You ever hit? You ever been in an abusive relationship? You ever been the abused in a relationship? You ever been to prison? She asked everything up front. And I answered everything honestly because I figured if she wasn't going to bring her representative, I wasn't going to bring mine either. Let's talk straight. And when
Where did y'all go?
that's Iguanas at that 5 Points section, like where Grand and North Milwaukee and all of that come together. So right off the blue line, because her job was way out on the west, in the west suburbs, and I worked at the WCIU building. So she got off before I did. She met me down there, but the date started at Iguanas, and then we walked to Greektown and ended up, you know what I mean? Like it was very quick. Like I met her, I think we had our first conversation on Twitter. I know we did. We had our first conversation on Twitter on December 17th. Like actual conversation. She might have tweeted me a picture or something. I commented on it, but December 17th, I jumped in them DMs without a parachute. Like, fuck it. You gonna catch me when I fall, damn it. But yeah, I hopped in them DMs December 17th, December 20th. We went on our first date. This was 2013.
Okay.
2013. December 17th, 2013, I jumped in the DMs. December 20th, we went on our first date. I went out of town to go see my daughter for Christmas that year. I came back in January, like January 3rd, 4th, and she came over, we hung out, we got snowed in. She came over that weekend, and if you go back and look at the weather, January 3rd or 4th of 2014, there was a big snowstorm in Chicago. So we ended up snowed in. She couldn't go to work that Monday. I went to work because I just can't take the train. I don't know about these people who drive, poverty. So yeah, she got snowed in. And we really kind of just kicked it some more when I came back from work. And yeah, fam, like people were like, yo, everything happened so quick. Yeah, she moved in within 5 months. We were married a year later. She got pregnant 4 months after we got married. And, right now we're 2.5 years in and we still haven't had an argument. So, I look at, I definitely knew day one, but there hasn't been anything that's happened since then to make me question it. And that's a blessing.
You know what's funny? I actually just went back into my DMs because I wanted to see the year and the month when me and my girlfriend kind of first really just had a first conversation. It was around December 2013. Now y'all married now, and so I'm a little behind the 8 ball.
Yeah,
so, I'm about to have to hear that, but you about to have kids. So thanks for that.
Hey man. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. I'm here for you. That's what I do. I'm a team player. You know what I mean? If I can raise the standards just a little bit, that's what I'm here for. Yeah. Hey, no, but you know what? Let me say this. You and your lady are another one of those couples that I look at when I hear people down and how black love don't work and how this. I'm like, yo, y'all don't see these. We making it work out here in these streets. It's not. We're not the only ones and we're not the exceptions. But I see y'all and I'm like, yeah. Because I mentioned she's good people and you good people. Like everybody I know who's met you has said, yeah, but he's good people.
Ah, thanks.
That's what that is. That's a true story. That's not because I'm on OTAP. I'm telling you, I know multiple. We have multiple associates in common. And you know what I mean, even through IC, like that far back, like stuff that you don't know I know, like people who know you through that are like, see what I'm saying?
You took
Like I
it
know people.
back.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. We're going all the party people know I'm going way back.
Okay.
Yeah, but like old school dudes who I'm like, yo, who was dude? They were like, nah, he a good dude. I'm like, all right, bet. And then, same with her, like Mary Lee, same deal. Like I know her, I know her, I know. And she's like, nah, she good people. So yeah, when I see couples together that I think everybody in that crew is good people and they making it work. Like we're not letting each other down. That's the other part. Like there's some people, if they don't make it, I'd be like, oh man, shit. like you want to call them and be like, fam, you sure, nigga? Like, come on, my nigga. Like they counting on us. They are counting on us. Like if Barack and Michelle break up 2 years after they leave the White House, I'm fucking one of them up. Probably Barack, because I don't know if I could whip Michelle ass. But you feel me?
it's like those episodes when Martin and Gina broke up. Your whole house is fucked up.
Yeah. Honestly, that whole last season was trash anyway, because in real life they weren't cool. But
they couldn't do it. They couldn't do scenes together.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll say this: like, I'm older, and by older I mean like I'm 107 this year. I just turned 44. Like Thursday, I turned 44. So my time frame isn't everyone else's because I really know very clearly what I want when I walk into the door.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Like I've had relationships that lasted 3 weeks and I know everything I needed to know about that relationship. It's over now because I knew this thing was going to be a problem later. And so it's no point in me waiting until we get to that problem. I don't have that kind of time. Let's move on. Everybody go find somebody else. And usually it works out that way. But with my wife, it was kind of the opposite. I knew very early on that this could work. And, we just from that point kept the communication lines open and we made it work. And for you, look, you got time. I mean, Britt probably don't agree, but you got time.
You know what?
You got time until she tell you don't have time.
Exactly. And so she, we actually had a conversation recently, and you know what? One of the things, the staples for us, as far as it, when we first started talking to whatnot, is we were going to do things at our own pace.
Yes.
Regardless of what's happening in the outside world, we're cool. You know what I mean? So we're not putting a rush on anything. From time to time we'll do status checks and to see, just kind of where we are, but that's just communication.
State of the Union.
Yeah, exactly.
State of the Union. Yeah, you got to do that. But yeah, I mean, listen, if anybody bases their relationship off of anybody else's, they already fucked up. Comparison is the thief of joy. You can't. My relationship ain't anybody else's. So yeah, this dude lets his wife do this, and why don't you let your wife do that? Because nigga, that's not my wife. The fuck is you? Like that's we not married. You know what I mean? Like somebody told me the other day, they said, if you woke, how come you say nigga? Nigga, because that's what the fuck I say, nigga. Oh, I'm just because man. You know what I mean? Martin Luther King never said nigga. Nigga, yes he did. Don't say Martin Luther King wouldn't acknowledge being Russian. So don't tell me about what Martin Luther King used to do. And also they killed that nigga. So don't ask me to behave like a nigga that got shot. I don't want to get shot. So I say nigga because maybe that's what you need to say not to get shot. Don't worry about me. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, do what you do. If both of y'all happy with it, bam.
Yeah, and I don't think we've had an argument either. I mean, we've had disagreements, and we've certainly had time when we were upset, but I don't think we've had an argument.
Right, and listen. You know the difference between I'm upset enough with you that I don't want to be bothered with you. Not right now, but I don't want to be bothered with you. That's a different feeling than I don't agree with what you just said. I don't agree with what you just did.
Exactly.
That happens. But I don't consider that an argument unless,
not
especially
at all.
if I say to her, yo, why did you do that? And she goes, well, what's the problem? And I say, well, this is the problem. She goes, oh, huh. Well, that's not why I did it. I did it for this reason. And then I go, oh, my fault. I took that differently. Boom.
Exactly.
That's not an argument to me. Because I said I didn't like something doesn't make it an argument.
Right. You're at
You
liberty
know,
to not like something. That's just what happens.
Abs-
You just that
absolutely.
happens. People get in
How you got
this
your whole mind and not gonna be able to ever now and then disagree with some shit? You got a whole ass mind that ain't in my body. How you not gonna see something differently from time to time? Yeah, that happens. That
All right.
happens. But yeah.
Last question I got for you. So on the day that Prince died,
Oh, come on, fam. What the fuck? What the fuck? Come on, fam. This shit was going so well, my nigga. Oh, trigger warning. Trigger warning. God damn it. Damn it, Scotty. I'm giving it all I got.
Damn.
Ah,
That was a hell of an intro too on the day that Prince died. The reason why I bring this up,
man.
The reason why I bring this up is because you performed that day.
Yeah,
you
man.
performed at the Laugh Factory that day.
Yeah,
and I know for me, I wanted to leave work. I was fucked up.
Yeah, man.
But you performed a set. You dedicated your first minute to "Let's Go Crazy," which is classy. You had a Purple Rain drink, so that you know. What I mean?
Man.
But how messed up were you, man? And are you still messed up?
Yeah, man. Listen, you heard my response. Fuck you mean? Why would you ask me about Prince, man? This shit ain't look. This shit still hurts. So here's the crazy part. I was on my way to my barber shop at the time, right? I'm on the train, I'm chilling, having a good day, and I don't really use Twitter unless I got some downtime. And train rides to me is downtime. I like catching the train because I don't have to pay attention to the road. So I'm on the train and I'm looking at Twitter and I see that TMZ reported it. And I say, I don't believe this shit until Prince himself tells me he's dead. Because basically what I'm saying is I don't give a fuck. Prince is not dead ever. Because if you dead, you can't tweet that you dead. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't saying I wanted Prince's account to tweet it. I wanted Prince to come and do a news conference and say, "I'm dead, niggas." That was the only way I could believe it.
Because that's the only way Prince would do it.
That's the only Prince could do that. And I immediately felt like I knew he was gone. Like while everybody else was waiting for the confirmation, like something told me, it's over.
Mm-hmm. You felt that emptiness.
Weirdly enough, I felt that right. Like when Mike was gone, I was sad, right? It hurt. This is Mike. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why I felt differently about Prince being gone, but I always thought Prince was a different kind of genius than Mike. You know what I mean? Yeah. Prince was really not influenced by the world. Prince influenced the world. Mike, a lot of the stuff that we had problems with Mike about was because Mike didn't grow up right. Mike got fucked over. Mike couldn't handle the pressure in this situation, the adoration of his fans, the all of the court cases. It was a lot going on, and Mike just eventually wanted to get away from it. Prince never did that. Prince controlled his shit from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Prince was like, "This, I'm gonna come out in panties this concert." You know what I mean? I'm gonna come out with assless chaps and this. You know what I mean? That's how I'm gonna get down. And I don't care if y'all question me about my sexuality. This is what we gonna do. And no, Mike, I'm not gonna be in your bad video because what you mean your butt is mine? Who's gonna say that? I'm not saying it, and you're not gonna say it to me. So here we are.
Right.
And apparently, like the stories about him balling with Dave Chappelle and Charlie Murphy, like that's true shit. Like Prince was so fam. I literally was in a barbershop and a dude said, "Yo, I don't want to cut your hair right now because you don't look good." I was like, "Nigga, I'm alive. Prince gone. We focused on the wrong shit. Prince is gone." Like I was damn near in tears in the barbershop. And I remember thinking, I got a show tonight. And I didn't want to do it. Like I really, there was like, and this is crazy because, you think, well, like, this isn't my homie. This ain't, me and Prince ain't grow up together. I don't know this nigga from Adam, but his music was that influential and personally, on a personal level from that, like I'm old enough that Purple Rain, the movie, happened when I was going through puberty. So Vanity and Apollonia and all, all of these women that he had in his circle, and Sheila E. and Sheena Easton and Wendy and Lisa, like all these women, these were like my early crushes. You know what I mean? Like, so, and then Prince was making sexy music. The number of women back then, if you liked the dude, you would call him when your favorite sexy song came on the radio, and you would just call him and put the phone up to the radio and let the radio play. And the girl I was dating at the time would call me. Every time a door came on the radio, she would call me and put the phone up to the radio. and that was my shit. that was my childhood. Like that was the sexiest thing you could ever hear was that song "Adore." And shout out to Dina Moore for playing that. I hope her husband doesn't punch in the face because she's in a weird situation. Hope she gets out of it. Rest in peace. But yeah, I mean, but shout out to it was just like Prince meant a lot to me at every point in my development, and he was kind of a revolutionary with his contract where he was like writing slave on his face and bucking the system in the last few years where he only delivered music on the internet on his website and nobody was bootlegging shit. Like, remember when every other artist died, you could go to YouTube and just start bringing up their videos. When Prince died, we couldn't do that. Prince really controlled, no, nigga, you want my music, you pay for it.
I heard that Prince would call up YouTube and say, hey, himself, and say, hey, you need to.
That's believable.
Get my shit down.
Excuse me. There's a username, F Jones 2372. I would like for you to delete this account. Like just also with a dope ass bass line playing my Wendy, yes, Prince. Lisa, yes, Prince. Call up YouTube. Put him on the phone. Like that's some old dope ass shit. Like, yeah, Prince was a bad it's one of these things where this dude was slight as shit. He's like 5'2", 115 pounds, and it just felt like he didn't play. Like what he say? Yeah, they try to play me, but if you play me, you play yourself. Like, nigga, you fight, I will knock you the fuck out. Fuck you, right. Like, you can't talk tough to me. I will fuck you up, little dude. But there's a piece of you that knows that any little dude who talks like that without raising his voice knows some shit. Like, like, look, it's the ones who whisper. It's not the ones who talk loud. It's the ones who be like, yeah, if you come at me, I'm gonna fuck you up. I don't want to have to crush your esophagus. You're like, what the fuck, nigga? Did you whisper that? And he run up and he really crushed your esophagus. And you can't be mad at him because he told you he was gonna crush your esophagus. That's on you for not respecting that young man's gangster. But yeah, that night was hard to perform because everything reminded me of Prince. Like I came home, my mom was sad, my lady was sad, I was sad. Sad was sad, you know what I mean? Like Jesus cried. I believe it rained. Like everything was bad.
There was a rainbow over his house. There was a rainbow over Paisley Park that day.
Yeah. So when I went to the show, I remember, and this is what bothered me. I remember asking the dude if he had "Let's Go Crazy," and that's when it hit me. I was like, oh shit, how could he have "Let's Go Crazy"? Prince don't let you get his shit.
Right.
Like if you have it, you pay for it. And he was like, look. I got multiple Prince playlists all ready for the night. And they started playing Prince, the pre-show. I was like, cool. I said, do me a favor. Don't play Let's Go Crazy. The first minute of my set, I want you to play the whole intro all the way up to the first chorus. He was like, got you. And listen, the set that I did was about as sloppy as I've been in a while. It was not a strong set. But I didn't care about the set. I cared about making these motherfuckers listening to. I want y'all to hear this. I just don't fucking cheer, don't clap, just shut the fuck up and listen. When you call up that shrink in Beverly Hills, you know the one. Doctor, everything will be all right. Instead of asking them how much of your time is left, ask them how much of your mind. And I went, because when I was growing up, that's a dope ass, like, fuck how much time I have left. How much? What? Because in this life, things are harder than the afterward. In this life, you're on your own. I was like, this nigga gets it. That was the thing that when you could listen to Prince lyrics and get a lot of insight onto some weird shit. Now, he also probably shouldn't have been fucking 17-year-old girls. That's the thing that we need to be able to hold our fucking heroes accountable.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, we let R. Kelly pee on somebody, and a lot of Chicagoans in particular, but there's still a lot of people in general who be like, yeah, but he made 12 play. Yeah. I don't think that
I don't think that tips the scales.
Yeah, like I don't know what tips the scales. I haven't seen, like somebody said last night, is it okay? No, Michael Jackson can't fuck kids either. Like my issue with Michael Jackson is one of the kids said that his daddy made him say it. So that to me throws everything in. But I saw R. Kelly do it. Prince, I think I've given the benefit of the doubt because Monta never said that he did it when she was 17. So we could speculate, but there hasn't been anything that actually said that he fucked a 16, 17-year-old. But I saw R. Kelly do it. You know what I mean? But we got to be critical. We can't let folks get away with it. But again, in Prince's case, it's tough. But I also could say that his lyrics have absolutely molded and shaped a lot of the things that made me better at different points in my life. And he's gone now. And that's the part. And it's not just his lyrics. It's like a Sinead O'Connor song. Nothing compares. It's like Sheila E. songs. It's like fucking the Bangles songs that no one even knew he wrote. It's like all the Apollonia 6, the Vanity 6, all of these songs that he wrote for other groups that we just kind of realized later on, this nigga wrote music for everybody. Morris Day in a time where he created a whole group. They didn't write shit. All this Prince music. You know what I mean? Like Prince took Minnesota, put the whole fucking Minneapolis on the map by himself. If somebody say nobody holds it down like Drake, nigga, nobody ever held it down like Prince. Prince put 6 different groups on the map with his music. And he built those groups. It wasn't like there was a group that he just gave him the song. He went and said, okay, you're going to be the lead singer. Jimmy, we're going to call you Jimmy Jam. You're going to play this. Terry Lewis, you're going to do that. Jerome, hold the mirror. Shut up. Like, yo, this dude was a genius. You know what I mean? Like he had Apollonia. He was like, yo, Vanity, we're going to do this for you. She was like, I'm not going to do that bullshit. He was like, cool, I'll get another one. You know what I mean? Like, he was the first Nino Brown. He was the first one like, cancel her. Get another one in here. And he did. Like, he literally replaced Vanity with Apollonia. And it's the same. Like, there was a minute where I was like, wait a minute. Did she change her name? Is this the same person?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then made a hit for her too. Like, how dope do you have to be to make a hit for somebody who's not really that person? He was that good, man. So yeah, it wasn't impossible to perform, but it was hard. It was hard. None of my jokes hit the way they were supposed to hit that night. I couldn't get out of my head. I was like, man, but Prince gone.
It was excusable because I think it was an off day for everybody. I know it was tough for me. The cool thing was seeing the entire world, sort of celebrate his life. Everything was purple. Everything. And like down here in Atlanta, like I didn't really go downtown, but I was looking outside and I couldn't see anything purple, and I was super pissed. I was like, if this is not a place that's gonna celebrate the life of Prince, I don't want to be here. So I'm driving, and then I started seeing like the lights downtown were purple. There's a tower that it was dedicated to Prince. So it was everybody had that connection. Before we get out of here, man, I want you to take a minute and plug anything where they can find you, what you got going on, websites, Twitter, whatever you want to plug, man. The floor is yours.
Yo, I'm out here in these streets, son. If you ever at like a Target or something and you see me out there with the polo on, come through. I can tell you exactly where to get the dope body washes. Now, of course you can find me on Twitter, the Felonious _MUNK. Nah, I just spelled that wrong. Felonious. FELONIOUS _MUNK. I usually post all of my show dates at some point throughout the day. Munk Comedy, MUNK comedy.com. All of my information is there. I'm taking a month off at least, or not a whole month. I'm taking some time off because the baby is due and I'm trying to parlay and be here with my wife. But I'll be in Cleveland on August 26th through 28th at the Accidental Comedy Festival. My man Ramon Rivas has put together the dopest comedy festival in Cleveland. It went from like a one-night, one-show festival to 3 nights with people coming from all over the country. He's got comics coming from New York, California, TV comics, people you see. Well, I ain't got to tell people that he's going to have comics from Comedy Central on the show because y'all know I fucks with it. That's me. But yeah, it's going to be dope. And he shows Chicago so much love. My man Chris Crack from the New Deal crew, straight out of Chicago. Also, Oak Park River Forest kid from the west side of Chicago going to be out there. And I know for the people who are from Chicago and listen to this, you're thinking Oak Park ain't west side. Fair enough. He went to Oak Park. He is from the west side. It's different. That's my wife, on the other hand. Not at all. I tell her every day, like Vic Spencer said, you ain't from out west, you from Oak Park. And then she punches me in the face. So, it's a strong relationship. But yeah, I'm at the Accidental Comedy Fest. Also, DC, if you got DC listeners, let them know. From November to January, I will be bringing Afrofuturism to DC at the Woolly Mammoth Theater. We'll be there for 2 months. It'll be called Black Side of the Moon because apparently they already have a show there called Afrofuturism. But it's pretty much a similar show. It's going to be stand-up, sketch, and music. It is one of the blackest things you've ever seen. Think of Key and Peele, but a little more militant.
Okay.
And I want y'all to hear how I said that, because black people stop doing this. I could have said think Key and Peele, but blacker. Key and Peele was black. Okay, stop.
Exactly.
Stop. It was a different kind of black. It was just black. All right. But anyway, yeah, it's like a very aggressive, very militant Key and Peele, or Saturday Night Live. If all of the characters were reversed, instead of being mostly white, it's all black. But yeah, so that'll be there 2 months. And some other, like BET is looking at this show for pilot season. I got another script that's in the works for another network, and we won't talk about that yet until some paperwork is signed. But they can find me all over the place, and if they don't start fucking with me now, they're gonna be like, if you ain't on the dick now, you be on it next year. It's fine. I ain't gonna be no hard. I ain't gonna be one of them dudes. No, don't fuck with me when I blow up. Nah, fuck with me then too. It's on your timetable.
Right.
Let's not make it weird. Let's not make it awkward. It's cool. But yeah, cool. we out here, man. I'm on all of this chats, the snaps, chats, and the grams, the instas, the book faces, all of that shit. I'm everywhere. And I got a wiki page, so Google.
Yeah, right. And you got a wiki page.
I got a wiki page. You can find me in the club. It's nothing.
And anytime you wanna, if you looking somewhere to debut something that nobody else has heard, a show or anything, you can come to the OTAP show and get it done over here.
I'm gonna do that because I got a mixtape that's coming out called Niggas Dancing Again. Like, I like that. Side note, I just want to point that out. I'm so glad that niggas is dancing again. And I know dudes grew up doing that era where dudes stopped dancing. Y'all ruined it for a lot of young men who that was their only way to get a woman. Do you know how many dudes for 20 plus years, they were like, I could dance my ass off, and if I could just show this chick, but if I dance, everybody's gonna call me gay. Corny. Stop doing that, man. Let these dudes dab and nay and whip and whatever the little shit is, the huckleberry. I don't know what the fuck the name of the dances are, but I'm glad to see young black dudes out there dancing their motherfucking ass off. And leave Odell Beckham alone, just because he fucking whatever. He's dancing. Dance, motherfucker. Dance. Shit. Prince gone, nigga. We need some joy in this motherfucker. Dance, nigga. Dab on these hoes. I don't know. Shit. Dabbing right now. You know what I mean? Look at the flick of my wrist, nigga. I'm stiff arm. I do all that shit. What? Keep me young.
I think my head hurt. I've been laughing so hard in this interview, man.
Hey, man, thank you for having me, man. Hey, thank you for having me. I'm a fan of the show, man. I'm a fan of you as an individual. I'm a fan of all the stuff that you're doing, man. Keep doing your thing, man. Keep winning out here. Anything I can ever do to help, man, let me know. I'll fuck with it. OTAP, Felonious, Munk. We a motherfucking movement. Let's do it.
All right. There it is.
Oh, Gucci home, too. Oh, Gucci home. We ain't talking about Gucci home. Gucci home. Oh, my fault. I snapped. My fault. For those who don't know, I'm a ratchet ass genius. That's who I am, man. I listen to Guwap. Listen, when Guwap came home, I felt the exact opposite way I felt on the day that Prince died. That's what I'm trying to tell you. When Gucci came home,
that was your life.
Fam.
You was able to breathe again.
He ain't even, why you act like that? He don't even be saying, you shut the fuck up. You watch your mouth. Don't ever talk about King Gucci, I'll slap you in your motherfucking mouth. That's what I'm telling you. How you let a nigga from the feds outdo you? That's what I want to know. Y'all mad, but a nigga from the feds outdid you. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why you angry. I get it. I can't even sleep. What? All right, my fault. No. I just felt like every time I'm on somebody's show, I need to let them know that Gucci's home, and we need to be celebrating and saluting that brother for losing 1,000 pounds and somehow turning a beer belt. He was 12 months pregnant when he got locked up. 12 months pregnant. You understand me? The amniotic fluid, everything gone, B. He ain't even got like that little pudge they get when they get the C-section. Like he got rid of that whole baby, B. And got a six-pack. That is impressive. Young Guwap and came home, and now I can actually understand what he's saying in the songs because he ain't on lean no more. Come on, man. Salute that brother. All right, my fault. This whole show, Corey asked me what I was wanting to talk about. I was like black people, and I just feel like right now, Gucci Mane is like right up there at the pinnacle of black excellence. Cause I'm just happy, man. That's all. I'm sorry. That won't. And nobody asked me for that. I just threw that out there, man.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good, brother. You're good. You're good.
Bird, Brick Squad. Bird.
So good people, you can subscribe to the show on iTunes. We'll be on iHeartRadio soon. We're on Google Play Music if you got an Android device. Follow the show on Twitter at OTAP Show. Leave us a comment and review on iTunes. Help us get those 5 stars. It'll really help us out a lot on the show. Email me if you know somebody that you want on the show, or if you want to be on the show, or if you anybody you want me to reach out to that you want on the show. Send an email, Corey at OTAP Show. I think that's it. That's part of my cool outro that I got now. I think that's.
I like that. That's sharp. That's
yeah,
sharp. I like that.
Yeah, that'll work. All right, until next time.
I like that.
Cool. Peace.
I'd like to thank our guests for coming on today. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, send an email to otap@writeme.com. Follow the conversation on Twitter by searching the hashtag OTAP, that's OTAP, or following us on Twitter at OTAP Show. You can find the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Android users can listen to the podcast on Podcast Republic. Just download the app and search OTAP Show. On behalf of our guest, I'm your host, Corey, and I'll see you back here next week on the Air Podcast, starring you.
I do my work. I'm just saying, I don't want no problems. I don't want no problems. Tony, your wife threatening me. I don't know why she's doing it. I'm sick of this shit. I'm doing the podcast, lady. It's the on. Listen, I'm Felonious Munk. I'm doing the on. Listen, do you know the name of this podcast? It's called the On the Air Podcast, starring you. No. This is Felonious Munk. You're listening to the On the Air Podcast, starring you. Yes. Well, I am. Oh, well, I'm gone. Yeah, we're gone then. Run up, get done up. Bert.